welcome back to my channel. This is JustJalisaRanae, all things entrepreneurship and faith. And today we are talking about how I book high-paying trucking loads.
Because baby, when I tell you, we ain't taking cheap freight over here, okay?
Stay tuned. Don't forget to thumbs up this video, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content. Let's get into it. Okay, so first things first, you want to check out DAT trend lines. So this is free. You can go on DAT.com and you can explore the trend lines section. This is going to give you past data on reefer, dry van, and flatbed lanes. This is a large scale.
So if you took economics, you would know macro and micro. So this would be more of a macro level.
Okay, this is a high level overview of what trends are in certain lanes in certain regions. So you can break it down to the West, the South, the East, and the Midwest. And this will give you a good idea on what to expect and how much wiggle room you can potentially have when it comes to specific lanes within those areas. Okay, moving on. Now, when you're on DAT Power and you put in an origin city and a destination city, it will populate a average, okay? It's called broker to carrier spot. And what that is going to show you is the average rates for that specific lane. So if you put in Atlanta to Nashville, that broker to carrier spot is going to give you either an average rate per mile, or for some places like maybe Atlanta to Macon, it'll give you a broker to carrier spot of one load rate. Okay, so it won't break it down cent per mile because it's not enough data. So what it'll do is it'll calculate the actual rates for that load, okay, in that particular lane. So loads that are going from Atlanta to Macon, if it's, let's say, $500 to $725, it'll give you that range, versus if it's from Atlanta to Nashville, it may give you a range of $2.32 to $3.17, because it has more data to go off of. So keep that in mind, but it's also a good starting point and a good baseline on what to expect that lane to be paying. So on DAT trend lines, if the national dry van rate is, let's say, $2.60 per mile, and then you go to DAT Power and you plug in a specific region, Midwest, right? So you type in Detroit, Michigan to Chicago, Illinois, and the van rate for that specific lane, dry van, is paying $3.20 on average. Then you need to go to your calculator on your computer or your phone or your tablet or whatever device you're using, and then you need to calculate the actual loaded miles for that lane and times it by the rate per mile that you're aiming to be at. So if the broker to carrier spot on DAT Power is showing $3.16 for that lane from Detroit to Chicago, you need to multiply that by the loaded miles for that lane.
So that's going to take you going to Google Maps and typing in Detroit, Michigan to Chicago, Illinois.
And let's see what we get. Okay, so that gives us 283 miles for that specific lane on average, okay, approximately. So then you're going to multiply that by $3.16 a mile, because that would be the broker to carrier spot that you'll see on DAT Power. And then that's going to give us $894. Okay. Now, if you go back to DAT Trendline and you see that that lane has been paying $2.60 as a national dry van average in the Midwest, then you can multiply 283 miles by $2.60, and then you can see the difference. So let's see what that gives us. Okay, so when we put that in, that gives us $735. So that's a pretty significant jump. So then what you want to do is, okay, if that's paying $894 based off of the current data for that lane,
You don't just want to take that. You don't just want to take that.
You need to then see how much wiggle room you have. So just off the top of my head, I know 894, let's try to get as close to 1100 as possible. Okay, and this is just me on here, just giving an example. So for me, I would call that broker and see how much wiggle room they have to get up to $1,100. And you can also use DAT Rate View to be your calculator. I love Rate View because this will break down to the nitty gritty bone, baby, on numbers. Okay, it's a numbers game. On Rate View, you may play around with the numbers to see, okay, how can I get to $1,100? And then you'll take that information to the broker during your negotiation conversation. Okay, make factual statements. Okay, use all of the data points to back up your position when it comes to needing a higher rate on a load. Don't just take what they give you unless they actually price it at a very good amount. And sometimes they will do that, but more times than not, you are really going to need to do some research and figure out, how can I get to the number that I'm wanting to get at? Okay, it's not just a show and tell. This is having factual data to back up your position, going into the conversation with expectations, okay, and understanding that you know what you're talking about. And if they don't want to budge, that's okay. Just go find another load.
But at the end of the day, you know what you're talking about. And that's this period.
And as always, thank you so much for tuning into today's video. If this helps you even the slightest bit, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. Drop a comment on other topics you would like me to discuss. I'll see y'all next time.